Who kills America's President John Franklin Kennedy? There is a lot of hypotheses, and many have said it was a coup d'etat. After years of the killing, new evidences are now coming up. The truth here is, what may have happened can be defined in three dimensions. One, did the CIA know about the assassination of John Franklin Kennedy before it actually existed? Who actually was the killer? Was there a single killer, or were there two attackers as far as John Franklin Kennedy is concerned? Why is it that the situation or investigations were kept for years before they are gradually being declassified? And even now, not all have been declassified. Was it a coup d'etat that occurred in America? I want you to watch this video, because this will open your eyes in terms of what is happening in other African nations, because a top U.S. official, John Bolton, had confessed in an interview with CNN that the U.S. also is responsible and has been responsible for some military coup in Africa. And just to let you know that a lot of military coups in Africa within the early 1960s have been attributed to the United States of America, with one being in Congo, when you have Patrick Lumumba of Congo. I want you to watch this video.
Who killed John Fitzgerald Kennedy? 6 decades on, people still have their doubts. The Warren Commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated the late American president, that there was only one killer. But new revelations refute this. They indicate that there was in fact a second killer. A Secret Service agent who witnessed JFK's assassination has now come out and relayed his version of the story. But before we get to that, let's recall what happened in the public eye. What horror unfolded before the people of Dallas on November 22nd back in 1963. JFK and his wife Jackie sat in a black Lincoln Continental. Their motorcade was led by two open-top limousines. It was proceeding at a stately pace through a street lined with people. The President and the First Lady were waving at onlookers. The motorcade was heading towards what was known locally as a triple underpass. Suddenly, JFK was seen clutching his throat. Jackie leant over to attend to him. An instant later, it looked like a lightning bolt struck JFK's head. It was blown up and thrown back. Jackie frantically crawled over the rear seat of the open car and climbed onto its rear deck. She was grasping at something. It was later described as a piece of her husband's shattered skull. Such a harrowing moment. People saw it with their own eyes. In fact, at least 4 people caught it on camera. The most vivid version is that captured by a dressmaker named Abraham Zapruder. A lot of people watched it, but the full version wasn't out until 12 years later. The exact moment in which the bullet strikes Kennedy's head was kept hidden for more than a decade. Why? Because it was too gory to handle. Now you can watch it on YouTube. In the clip, it seemed that the blast came from in front of JFK and blew his head backwards. But it was dismissed as an optical illusion. The Warren Commission concluded that JFK's assassin, Oswald, was positioned behind him. It said that Kennedy was hit from behind. He slammed his chin forward to his chest, and then his head rebounded backwards. But what if? What if there was a possibility that the shot did come from the front? Oswald was standing at the back. He fired shots from a 6th-floor window in the Texas School Book Depository. But was there another gunman positioned in the front of Kennedy? Well, ex-Secret Service agent Paul Landis believes there was. Where exactly, he's not sure. On the day of Kennedy's assassination, a 28-year-old Landis was assigned to protect the First Lady. He was riding on the running board of a black Cadillac behind the presidential limousine. That is when a shot rang out. He soon heard a second one and saw the president's head split open. This he had spoken about earlier, but what I'm about to tell you now are the revelations that he has made after 50 years of silence. On the day of Kennedy's assassination, Landis spotted an intact bullet in the back of the presidential limousine. On finding the bullet, he reportedly pocketed it. He didn't want it to fall into the hands of souvenir hunters or the press. Landis accompanied First Lady Jackie Kennedy into the Dallas hospital as surgeons fruitlessly tried to save her husband's life. Landis found himself next to the president's stretcher. At the end, only one bullet was found, that too on Governor John B. Connolly's stretcher, who was also injured in the incident. Now, the Warren Commission's theory says that Kennedy and the governor were hit by the same bullet, that one of the bullets fired that day entered Kennedy's body from behind, then exited through his throat before striking Governor Connolly. But Landis believes that the bullet he found had only hit Kennedy. If his theory is correct, it could indicate that Connolly was hit by an entirely different bullet, perhaps by one fired by someone besides Lee Harvey Oswald. Initially, the public largely accepted the Warren Commission's version. 87% of Americans polled by Gallup agreed that Oswald shot the former president. But criticism mounted over the next decade or so. It peaked in the late 1970s with the release of the Zapruder film we just told you about. Fast forward to 2017, 61% of adult Americans believe that more than one person was involved in Kennedy's assassination. So, were there two gunmen involved? What do you think? These are all, after all, just conspiracy theories.